Raise your hand if you have a Monica's closet in your classroom. It's no secret that teachers have a lot of stuff, and most of it's for a good reason. We have 20 plus students in our room. They have a lot of things, and of course, we as teachers have a lot of things. But if you're anything like me, sometimes all of that stuff can feel a little overwhelming. And you want to declutter, but it's hard to because you just might need it. Well, don't worry, I've got you. In today's video, I'll be sharing some tips that will help you declutter your classroom once and for all. If you're new here, I'm Rachel Vincent, and I love sharing ways to help teachers simplify their classroom and their teaching. So let's talk about clutter for a moment. It greatly affects your time, the amount of clutter you have. And we know as teachers, there is not enough time during the day. Clutter is also known to raise cortisol levels, which cortisol is just the stress hormone. And again, teachers don't need any more stress or cortisol levels to be up high already because we're already probably through the roof. Everything in your class, everything you keep, every person in your classroom, and every item in your classroom takes your time or your space and your attention, whether it's daily or weekly. And even if it is something that you aren't looking at that day or thinking about that day, we have this silent to-do list going on where when we see something, it reminds us, oh, I need to grade that stack of papers, or oh, I need to put those manipulatives away, or I need to go get some more manipulatives. I need to do this. There's this constant to-do list that our mind is going through when we see these items and things in our classroom. When we open up a cabinet and we think, ugh, I need to organize this, or oh, there's that item I was going to use for this. As teachers, it is so hard to let things go for many reasons. One, we are severely underfunded and don't have the money and resources all the time to go out and get new things. Secondly, curriculum changes, student needs changes, our classroom changes year to year, and we never know what we might need. So here are a few things that I want you to think about as you are decluttering your classroom and deciding if you should keep it or not. So often, especially if we have one of those Monica closet type things, as we're pulling stuff out and looking through those items, we find something that we forgot we had. Honestly, and you forgot you had it, you probably can do without it because the chances are you're probably going to forget about it again. The next thing, when you find an item, ask yourself, is keeping this, managing it, maintaining it, keeping it organized worth the value? If it is a bag of toilet paper rolls that you might use for a craft or a STEAM project, is the value of keeping it, managing it, maintaining it, finding it when you need it worth the value of getting other toilet paper rolls in the future? Could you make use with something else? Is there something else you could use that item for? Or is it cheap enough to where you could go out and get it in the future if you need it? One of the things I often think about are the pipe cleaners that use for lots of different ideas. I recently got rid of a whole bunch of them. I didn't get rid of them. I donated to the art teacher. But anyway, because I hadn't used them in so long, and if I decide to do some sort of craft or project with them in the future, they're cheap and I can replace them quickly. What is the worst that could happen if I didn't have this item? If I didn't keep this set of books or this project that I did 3 years ago that I haven't done since, so what's the worst that could happen? You decide, oh, I don't have what I need, so I can't do that project, and you come up with another idea, or you decide to recreate it and spend 10 minutes recreating it. Think about, is that 10 minutes or that deciding to do something else worth the value of keeping something that's taking up space in your time in your closet or your cabinets? If you're afraid you're going to need it in the future, one of the things you can ask yourself is it something I can find again online? Hello, filing cabinets. You can get rid of your files because you can find anything and everything you need again online. Can you borrow it from someone else? Do you need your own set of paintbrushes, or can you borrow them from the art teacher when you decide to do that project? Or can you put it in a central storage location? This is really dependent on the school you're in, but I am blessed to have a 4th grade storage closet where we can put lots of things, so I can take it out of my classroom and put it in the storage closet. Another great question to ask yourself as you're decluttering, organizing, putting things back is, Will you be able to find it in the future when you need it? That's where that sort of organizational piece will come in, where you want to put like items together and things like that. So when it's like, oh, I do need that bag of toilet paper rolls for the STEM project we're going to do, are you going to be able to locate that bag in the future? Now, as you begin this sort of decluttering journey, you want to sort of give yourself a little bit of a rule. And when you first start, your rule may be the 2-year rule, where if you haven't used it in the last 2 years and you don't anticipate using it in the next 2 years, get rid of it. Now, I've been at this decluttering thing for a while, and I'm down to where if I didn't use it last year and I'm not going to use it this year, I'm getting rid of it. In your personal life, it's more of a 90 days, but because things change from year to year, we want to do different activities and lessons year to year. The 1-year rule is pretty solid, but if you need a little more time, give yourself 2 years, not 3. 2 years, because a lot can happen in 3 years, because if you think about it, 3 years ago was 2020. One of the questions that I ask myself a lot these days when decluttering, because I was not a very good, I didn't think through all my purchases, and I bought all the cute stuff in the dollar section and all the things you see online. I've gotten better at that, but when I go through things and I find stuff, I ask myself, would I purchase this again? And if the answer is no, it's time to let it go. I recently went through a box of trinkets and things that students had gifted me over the years, and there were some things that I remember getting, but I didn't write who gave them to me. I didn't have anything written down. And so I had to ask myself, am I keeping this to make someone else happy? I did get rid of some of the things because I couldn't remember who gave them to me. And the purpose of me keeping them was to remember the student. And so I try to, when a student gives me something that I think is valuable, to write their name on it, so when I see it again, I can see, oh, this was from them. There's several Christmas ornaments that I have that I wrote who gave them to me, so when I pull them out each year, I can remember the person. But if you're keeping something to make somebody else happy, then you need to get rid of it. And this next question to ask yourself is, I think, probably one of the most important questions we can ask ourselves as teachers, because as teachers, we could use anything. So instead of asking yourself, could I use this? Because we can use toilet paper rolls. The question is, will I use this? Will I do the STEM project that these could be used for? Will I do paint with my class again, even though they made a mess? Will I use this in the future? Not could I use this in the future. Now that you've asked those questions and you've taken the time to declutter, it's time to organize all of those things. Check out the video that's on your screen now for some tips on organizing your classroom.